welcome to Virtual Collage Jam for Monday, February 7th. And I almost started the wrong stream. I almost started one of my... I'm getting so organized. I have more than one stream scheduled, and I almost started one of the wrong ones. So super professional here, guys.
It's a work in progress.
I'm on the right one. So yes. And welcome aboard. And... just want to say a shout out to Rebecca, my excellent assistant. Many of you guys know her from the jam, and she has been making me look professional, more professional than I deserve, by scheduling our reminders and our prompt emails to go out on the right day and everything, instead of at the last minute as Cal scrambles to do them. So thank you, Rebecca.
So if you'd like to sign up, if you're watching this live or later, and you'd like to sign up to receive the prompts in advance of the collage jams,
by email, just use my contact form on my website,
which is www.calhoney.ca.
That's what that is.
Right. So there we go. I'll put it in the chat.
That would be great with the bracketed dots. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And yes, you can just make sure you mention Virtual Collage Jam, because it just comes to my general inbox. But that would be great. So, Virtual Collage Jam is a bi-weekly, with a few breaks in between terms, free community collaging opportunity with optional prompts. We have a private Facebook group that you can also request to join, Virtual Collage Jam on Cal Honey Art on Facebook, and where people post their collages and have discussions and so on. So, yeah. So, welcome aboard. And Ruth is our first poster. Hey, Jane, welcome aboard. So how are you guys? Glad to have you along. We will be working with the prompt today of vertical and horizontal. And it's a really open-ended prompt, which sometimes it's really great to have something specific to latch onto, and sometimes it's good to have a prompt that just sort of gives you just the very bare bones of something to latch onto. And so I try and vary them, right? Sometimes it's visual prompt, sometimes it's a written prompt, sometimes it's specific, sometimes it's more general. And
variety, it's important.
Yeah, exactly. So
I guess you're Cal Honey.
Do you think I should introduce myself?
And I'm Kim Lee Coe.
And that's who's bringing you this thing. So yes. So many of you know that I run the Collage Jam, and Kim Coe on alternate weeks runs Virtual Studio Party, and we work each other's chat. So Kim is answering and manning the chat and chatting with me and you guys as well. And
Cheryl and Val have joined us.
Excellent. Welcome aboard, Val. Hi, Cheryl. And we do verse versa on the opposite weeks. So
that's right. We alternate.
Yeah.
And alternate channels.
Yeah.
It looks like there are more people in attendance than maybe who can join us in our chat.
Yeah,
so welcome to
aboard.
All of you.
Yeah. If you're game to chat, please feel free. If you just want to hang out and watch and play along.
Or you're not able to sign in.
Or yeah, I mean, I think you need a Gmail account of some description. Google account to participate in the chat. Right. So if you don't have that, that's fine. I mean, we'd love to chat with you, but you can certainly just hang out and watch and play along. Yeah. So I'm going to switch to the overhead camera because I don't have any real announcements or anything so I'm just going to get started, and Kim will let me know what you guys are saying. And I'll start off by asking if you have any sort of germ of an idea as far as what you're going to play with, vertical or horizontal or both, how you're going to spin the prompt. Please let Kim know, and she'll pass it along.
Yeah, it'd be great to find out.
So I'll just be back in a sec.
Don't worry about the blackness of the screen.
It's just to save you the trouble of seeing.
Yeah, don't want anyone getting motion sick during the live stream.
There we go. Yeah. So
there we go.
It's actually even in focus. Not too bad.
Look at that.
All right. So what have I got? I'm going to just, first thing I'm going to do is leaf through. I picked out a few things because I was thinking it'd be kind of fun to play unexpected verticals and horizontals. So like putting like a standing figure horizontal and a horizon line vertical.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of sort of landscapey type things that have an Australia book and an Ontario book that should have some sort of horizons in them. I don't even know why, but I thought, oh, maybe there might be horizon in the driver's handbook. But I also love just like the little diagrams, so they might or might not find their way.
They even have signs in them, Cal.
Oh, you gotta love a sign, right, guys? Well, I do anyway. And then my ubiquitous fashion magazines for some figures. So
Val says she's going to be working with both vertical and horizontal.
Cool. Yeah, because you could, I mean, it could be the format that you work with. You could do a piece that you could choose. Like, I'm going to do something that's all about verticals. You can do something that's all about horizontals, or you could blend them, right? So I'm going to just rifle through and grab some things, and then I'm going to start playing with them. So
excellent.
While I do that, maybe
I gravitate towards verticals. I know I've done a lot of paintings with verticals that people always want to see as horizontals. That's so interesting.
I as a graphic designer, I think I feel the same way. Like, I tend to do more verticals than a lot of people, and I think horizontal makes a lot of people comfortable. Because if you think about, when you say just calm down or just zen, right? You sort of make this sort of like this horizontal line, right? Because when we look at the horizon line, it's like, okay, that's what we're expecting. It's calm. It's doing what it's
when the horizon line looks vertical, we get a little
a little concerned, right? So it's kind of like our natural baseline of comfort. But Kim and I like to, and with design, we had to break through. Right?
Yeah, and energize things.
Yeah, exactly. So looking for things, anything that's that breaks through, and vertical versus horizontal is definitely one of those things. Not the only thing by any means.
Skyscrapers are a lot more energizing than a train seen from a distance.
Yeah, but of course, something that is flying by on a horizontal can be very exciting.
Absolutely.
Right? Like but just in terms of something static, like
that's
a static horizon line
and a fence
or a vertical static, the verticals just tend to be more.
And what have we got here? Cheryl says, I'm actually going to try playing along for a change, but because I'm more into painting, I'm going to try using some of my cast off paintings to do both horizontal and vertical.
Absolutely.
I think, LOL. That sounds great, Cheryl.
And you're an artist. You are allowed to change your mind as you go along.
That's right.
But playing with paintings. Oh, look, this.
Oh, wow.
Philip Burke.
Oh, Philip Burke
is one of our favorite sort of caricature illustrators.
Maybe we should scan that in.
Yeah, and he was his work was really dominant in the 90s.
Yeah.
But this is a magazine from 2018, so it's really exciting to see a more recent one. So
he was a regular portrait illustrator in Rolling Stone magazine, and did some just outstanding work.
Yeah, so it's great to see. So like, oh, he's still working, he's still getting work. That's great. Yeah,
that is good. Jane says, I did both together. Simple, colorful, and therapeutic, putting it together. Already posted.
Right, now, so you're moving on to the next prompt, right?
Now watching to get more ideas. Right, so she can relax now that she's got all those
she sort of got her assignment done.
That's right.
And now she can play.
Awesome.
Right. Some
Cherie's
of us are
here.
Hey, Cherie.
She says, hi, guys.
I had to wave vertically here.
Between Februlage, Paris Collage Collective, Virtual Collage Jam, and Collage Vignettes, I am immersed in collage.
Excellent.
That sounds like a pretty happy place.
Yeah, what better
Cherie.
place to be, right?
Yeah. And Lakehoff's here. She says,
hey,
greetings.
Anne, yay.
What a beautiful sunny afternoon, and nice to be spending it with you. Aw,
we're
so
honored.
Nice.
We're delighted. That's awesome.
Judy Nugent's here.
Yay. Hey, Judy.
Hi, Kim and Cal. Nice to join you for a bit. I will have to leave early due to a previous commitment. Well, we're so glad you can join us for at least part of it.
A little bit.
Yeah. Philippa's here.
Hey, Philippa.
She says, hi, Kim and Cal. Nice to join you for a bit. Oh, no. Sorry. Hi, Kim and Cal. Looking forward to seeing what you're up to today. I'm going to try to work alongside.
Cool.
Yeah. Françoise is here.
Yay. How are you, Françoise?
She writes, "Hi, Kal and Kim. Looked for vertical and horizontal ideas in magazines and not decided about what next."
Yeah, well, you don't need to be, right?
Start with the collecting and
exactly.
Shuffle them around like cards. And watch Kal. That'll probably help.
Or not. Or maybe it'll mess you up. I don't know.
No, it won't. No, it won't. And Ricky Sanders is here.
Hey, Ricky. Yay.
So glad to see you, Ricky. Oh, that's good.
That's awesome.
People kind of gradually made their way here, and now I feel like we've got. Oh, and look, Nellie's here.
Hey, Nellie! Yay!
She says, "So happy to be with you again. So glad you could make it.
It's awesome to have you here."
Anne says the fun is in the collecting.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so much fun, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Look at him ripping with reckless abandon. Look how straight that one rip was. Unbelievable.
Well, as anyone who's ripped magazines knows, there's a strong grain, right?
Yeah.
So one direction at least usually will rip very, very politely.
Yeah.
And one not so much, right? So I had this idea that I would just grab a bunch of things that had and sort of create a composite horizon line, although those are too much from the same image, but something sort of like that.
Yeah.
But I think I need a couple more, but I thought that would be kind of fun. Also, a bunch of these will be dead ends, but I saw this and I thought, oh, this has like the crosshairs of both vertical and horizontal, so you never know.
That could come in handy.
Exactly. Something I love about collage is the way you don't have to start from zero. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
that's a big advantage of it.
When you're drawing or painting, you might have reference, or you might be trying to come up with something out of your head. But collage, you can like go looking for something specific, or you can see something that you didn't even know you were going to use and then use it, which is fun.
The past, I don't know, maybe 3 classes, like last term plus the first one of this term, I've been doing digital collage with my Tradigital group, and it's been fun thinking in ways that are analogous to working with paper collage like this.
Yeah.
But then, of course, because it is digital, there are all these other additional things you can do that are limited to digital. Maybe all this time in virtual collage land has
infected your thinking a little bit.
Yeah. It's one of the fun things to do. So Nellie, are you joining us from some other part of the world,
location?
Not Canada?
Yeah. Are you still in France?
That's what I was thinking, but it's so hard to keep up.
Yeah. Nellie's a moving target. She's she's here,
that
and then
glamorous
she's there.
life, hey Nellie?
Sometimes she's in the Middle East. Sometimes she's in Europe.
Well, I think we have a fair number of travelers here. I mean, Françoise, of course, goes to France regularly and other places. COVID notwithstanding, it limits what one. Oh, she's in the Middle East now.
All right.
Right. Well, you're not in the middle of the snowmageddon we've been having here, so that's something.
That is something.
Hope you're enjoying that. It's also been very cold for Toronto area hasn't very often got so cold for such an extended period of time, but it did get milder.
Yeah,
just
we did
recently.
have some milder weather just recently, but we have had some
Yeah, it
Below,
was down to
below
like
minus
minus
20. Yeah.
20, minus 25. Not like Edmonton, though. I've got a friend in Edmonton. He said, yeah, minus 35. Crazy.
Somewhere under here, I have my scissors. There we are.
Mind you, in the Middle East, I'm thinking 35 plus 35 would be like nice moderate temperature, depending on where she is. Assuming she's not in mountains or something. Lisa Kemp is here. Hi,
Hey, Lisa.
And Elaine Windsor's joined us as well.
Hey, Elaine, that's great. Yay! Look at all these. All these collages. It's great. Oh, I'm so happy to have you all here. And if anyone is new to our collage jam, please don't be shy if you say hi, introduce yourself.
Yeah.
And
we'd love to meet you.
Yeah, exactly. And if any of you have collager friends who are still on the outside, or maybe artist
creative friends.
Yeah, like, exactly.
They don't have to be collage artists.
You know, one of the reasons I chose collage, apart from my love of it, right? Because everyone knows I love collage. But at the outset of the pandemic I thought, well, artists can do it, but everyday people can do it as well too, right? Because they're not intimidated by like having to draw and paint.
They don't have to be able to draw. They don't need special materials.
And that is one of the things I love about collage. If you have a sort of a good color sense and design sense, you don't even need that, but
you can develop one.
Exactly. Actually, that's exactly right. It's a great way to learn such things, because you really do. It's a great way to train your eye.
Yeah. And to get curious, to learn more.
Yeah, because you put things together and you look at them and think, oh, okay, that's interesting with those two together. What if I move it over there? What if I change that? What if I swap that out for this? And so there are all these options that allow you to, and if you're sort of aware of what you're doing and like, oh, that was better. Why is that better? I wonder,
So we've got lots of chat to catch up on.
All right. Well, then I will let you tell me all about it.
And I apologize to anyone who can hear me chewing my gum. Elaine says she's working on Februage, but thought that she could enjoy your company while she works.
Absolutely.
Excellent. She adds, during Februage, I was thinking about how viewing collage art has me contemplating the artist's thinking process as much as the artwork posted, more so than when I look at a painting or drawing. Probably because you can see the bones of it more directly.
Yeah, for sure.
It's picking out how it was constructed is something you can do more readily particularly from photographs. Paintings can be a lot harder to do that with, and especially from photographs, they can be hard to do that with. Whereas in person, that's one of the things I will do when I'm going to a painting show where I find the work really interesting is, well, really any kind of show where I find the work interesting, I will examine it for how was this put together. What did they use? How did they use it? And of course, why did they use it? Mustn't forget that. Okay, Nellie adds, here too, the snow broke all the trees. Oh my God.
Wow.
I guess the trees aren't used to snow load, so they don't have strength in their grain in those directions. She says it's just 0. So it's balmy for winter standards. But you're in a snowy place. That's crazy. Now, I have seen... I used to work for a guy named Salah Bashir, who's now become a very prominent citizen. Has been for a very long time. And he's from Lebanon originally. And he regularly posts memories of Lebanon, beautiful seasons, and he posted one of snow in Lebanon, and it just had never occurred to me that there would be snow there, but But then I think, well, in mountains, of course, just about anywhere there can be snow and cold. Ruth asks, what is februarage? I think that must be like Inktober, right?
Yes,
It's
it
a
is,
month of doing collage. Is there an official prompt site?
Yeah, so I know that it's the month of February, and it's a challenge to do one a day, I think, with the prompt. But where does it come from? Let us know, guys.
Yeah,
I know
if
some of you
someone
guys
would
are.
mind sharing. I mean, you could Google just the word februarage, and I'm sure you'd find it. But if anybody's actually following the official prompts.
Well, I think a few of them, Cherie, and I think Val probably is as well. So yeah.
Well, like Inktober, there's been some controversy about the person who started it, and
oh dear.
So the official prompts,
right?
And so there are now a bunch of alternative Inktober prompt sites. So hopefully nothing of the sort has happened with februarage, and but yeah, if there is a website, awesome. And actually, I can go look for it, and if I find it, I'll put it up. And Cherie says, Carol from Campbellville is online.
Hey, Carol.
Hi, Carol. So glad you're with
my hand
us.
in the view there we go.
She watches Virtual Collage Jam on the television big screen. Oh, what fun. Well, I hope your complexion's in good shape, Cal.
Fortunately, I'm not on screen except for my hands, so that's.
Hope you moisturized. It's crazy how high definition suddenly made everything too really high definition made everything too vivid. How much detail on people's pores do you need to see?
Really
right?
need? Yeah, exactly.
On the other hand, as an artist, I love the fact that it's so detailed. So it's a balancing act. Anyway, it must be something to watch this on the big screen. You can really see in detail the images you're working with then. Cherie writes, Februarage is a collaboration between Edinburgh Collage Collective and the Scandinavian Collage Museum. That's so cool. I love that. I love that it's a collaboration like that. Amy Schneider. Hello, Amy. Thank you for chiming in. She writes, Februarage, this is a joint collaboration between the Edinburgh Collage Collective and the Scandinavian Collage Museum. Posts and prompts are on Instagram. So there you go, Ruth. Just on Instagram, you can look for Edinburgh Collage Collective and anyone else who's interested in following. And presumably the Scandinavian Collage Museum. Okay, Cal, did you know about the Scandinavian Collage Museum?
No, I didn't.
So this is now moved. I mean, Cal and I have we both love the Nordic countries.
Yeah.
And have always wanted to travel there. I've only been to Iceland. But this Scandinavian Collage Museum is now going to give us extra impetus to get there. I even have a friend in Sweden, an old school chum, whom we could visit. But I don't know that it's in Sweden. So it could be in Denmark. It could be in Norway. Somehow I have this feeling it's not Norway, but Denmark or Sweden. I bet. Where's my phone? I can solve that. Oh, I can just Google it. That's what I'll do. Thanks very much to both of you for the
that's great. Thank you.
Info. Okay, Scandinavian. It's in Norway. Of course it is. Because I thought, well, it just doesn't seem like it'd be in Norway. What do I know, right? Oh. Collage magazine has it listed among collage communities.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Just like us.
That's right. That's right. Cal made sure that we're listed. It's in Skamsvingen, Berkak, Norway.
Ah, yes.
A one-woman project.
Wow.
Oh, how interesting. And it's basically in a shed. A lovely shed, but a shed. Founded in 2016 by collage artist Misprinted. Oh, that's funny. Very small museum, open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It has had thousands of visitors and shown artists from Europe, Australia, and the United States, including notable collage artists such as R.F. Cote from Canada, Rika Francila from Finland, Sarah Maple from the UK, Winston Smith from the US, and many more. Well, that's amazing.
That's awesome. I tell you, I learn more from my students than they do from me.
It's a human exchange.
No,
right?
It's great. I love it.
That's
and I love that's such a great thing that it's like in a shed and it's open all the time.
Yeah.
That sounds, Kim and I have often talked about the idea of pilgrimage and organizing where we travel around a significant to us destination or
set of destinations.
Yeah, exactly. Or linking a bunch of them, right?
Yeah.
So that sounds like a great beginning right there.
That Edinburgh Collage Collective I'm just checking out their website for the first time.
Yeah, well, they remember when we did Strike a Light in the first year of, and I did them. That was their initiative. Yeah. So,
which was great. I better get back
to the chat.
Thanks, Amy. As you've already heard, I did discover it is in Norway. That'll teach me to be dismissive of anything. Well, it probably won't be, sadly, but it's a reminder. Cherie says it's a wee little trailer that people line up to get into. I think anything art related that people are lining up to get into is pretty exciting to see.
Exactly.
Remember when AWOL Gallery had its square foot show?
Yeah, or square foot. Yeah, sorry.
Annual square foot show, and people lined up. They hung their walls practically floor to ceiling with work. And it was just one of those exciting things people wanted to see. Well, that's looking interesting, dear.
Why, thank you.
Maybe we need to organize a collage trip when things are safe.
We totally do.
No, what I mean is like with other collage lovers and collage artists and people from Collage Jam and so on.
Absolutely.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
So
we'd have to definitely get help organizing because we're terrible
we're not very good at that word.
event arranging is like probably our weakest thing, right?
Our Achilles heel. But I was just going to say, there are probably a bunch of people who've got to know us through Collage Jam and since the pandemic and so on, who don't know that pre-pandemic we used to do, well, you
gallery
did them
walk and talks.
Yeah, we do gallery walk and talks. We, 2 or 3 times a year to galleries in Toronto, and sort of ferreting out some of the lesser known galleries and sometimes going to really well known galleries, but looking for interesting shows, and it made for a great day, right?
Yeah,
we'd go to 4 or 5 galleries and with a coffee break or a lunch break,
and often got all kinds of special treats, like artists would come in and address,
talk to the group,
or the gallerists would very generously talk at Matter Gallery, which has sadly closed just at the time that COVID. Gallery was going great, but COVID was coming, and they are an international gallery, so they knew that they just have to ride it out. Closed. They served us refreshments when we came. It was amazing. They were so hospitable. And one gallery, Robert Canonage Gallery, the artist there, whose name I've forgotten, had just been awarded the Governor General's Award for the Arts, and he tested out his acceptance speech on us. We were the first audience that heard his acceptance speech.
Yeah, and I'm blanking on the artist name too. And it's
I apologize to him for not remembering. In fact, I'll look it up because it's too embarrassing not to. Google has replaced my actual memory. Sadly. At least there is that opportunity now. Was that in 2019? It might have been. Bruce Eves. What's his name?
There you go. Yeah, I would never have brought that back, but yeah, he's done some very interesting, challenging work.
Yes. It's a gay rights activist, and yeah, his work can be beautiful, haunting, gross, challenging. I seem to recall there was even some wit in some of it. But yeah. So Françoise says, would love to meet you in Norway.
Yeah.
Lane says a collage tour. Love it. Yeah. So, if we were organizing a tour, we could organize all kinds of things, and maybe and definitely contact and arrange things with some of the big collage collectives,
Yeah. Well, and
like Edinburgh and Paris and
Collage Magazine has been organizing events that happen in different places.
Maybe we could partner with them too.
No, that'd be awesome.
I mean,
yeah,
make it a real community thing, a bigger community thing. What fun. I do so love daydreaming about travel during these COVID years.
I think you're really not alone there.
Oh my God. We do have friends who have been traveling, but yeah, we're not doing it until, I don't know, until things are hopefully safer, the numbers are lower globally, whatever. I don't know. We'll see. We have some friends in the UK who travel several times a year to various locations. Now, not usually not populous locations because they're doing Wow, she looks so elongated.
Yeah.
Torn like that.
Yeah.
She's already like.
Yeah, already a stick, right?
Yeah.
Thought I was going to have 2 in here, but I think I might just have 1.
Well, it does look delicious on the orange there.
Yeah, well, I've got this great quote, and I don't even know who they're talking about, but it's just like, she's not like a precious fucking flower that's going to get crushed. And so I just thought I have to use that somehow.
Yeah. Nellie says they're stuck where they are because they have to go through the UK, which has the highest toll of infections. Yeah. Why am I not surprised that it does, given the train wreck of a government? You know, when times aren't when we aren't facing such large-scale perils, a government can get away with being a train wreck without damaging a somewhat smaller group of people, shall we say. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, Nellie.
Yeah.
But at least you're getting some snow. It almost feels like you're in Canada, right? Ricky says, I just went to a Jasper Johns exhibit.
One of my faves.
I had heard he was a collage artist. He used a wax something or other as adhesive. I really liked his American flag and how he used panels. He's one of the great modern masters, Ricky. And yes, he's famous for using encaustic, which is a wax medium, to carry the color. Cherie writes, my neighbor and her husband are moving to Thailand. Oh, my.
Wow.
Okay, so I just felt a little twinge of envy there. And are going to buy/run a resort. Oh, they leave Saturday and I have an invitation to visit. Something to look forward to. Absolutely, Cherie. And Lori Graham's here.
Hey, Lori.
Hi, Kim and Kal and everyone, she says. So
Awesome.
Good to see you here, Lori. Glad you could make it. Yes, I need some friends to do something like that, Cherie. So I have an invitation to it too. To something like it. Oh dear. I really must get on my friends' cases. Oh. Now that said, I do have some friends who live in some nice places. Like my friend in Sweden.
Sweden's not that far from Norway.
It's not. You're right. Cherie says she took an encaustic class at Halliburton School of the Arts and loved it. Yeah, it's a beautiful medium. So at Halliburton for years, I've stopped now. I'm offering gel plate printing at Halliburton this year instead. But for years, I taught a encaustic effects using acrylics course for people who love the way encaustics look, but didn't want a whole complete other set of media and maybe couldn't handle the ventilation and all of that. So that was a lot of fun. Ricky somehow thought it was an adhesive. No, that he was sticking the collage pieces down with. Well, wax actually can act as an adhesive, but encaustic medium is wax based and has some other property as well.
You can sort of end up burying the stuff in things in encaustic and using them to adhere it, right? But it's you can adhere with it. Yeah, and it's also about how it sort of gives a sort of a milky is not quite the right word, but sort of a frosted,
slightly veiled.
Yeah, which can be pretty
slightly or heavily veiled.
Yeah, depending on how many layers, and you can add paint to it as well, right?
And oil paint.
Oil paint, right?
Yeah. So. Some people are trying to use acrylic with it, and sort of managing it, but in theory, it shouldn't be durable, combining wax and acrylic.
But just out there on the edge trying it anyway, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, good for them. I'm a big proponent of trying stuff. Cherie says the course focused on encaustic photo transfers. Well, image transfers of all kinds are dear to my heart. So Jasper John, for years, was a life partner with the other giant modern master, Robert Rauschenberg, who basically invented the image transfer, but he used things like gasoline.
Yeah, and
acetone
right?
And
yeah,
stuff. Incredibly volatile, flammable,
dangerous,
toxic things. I do use a lot of. I love doing image transfers, and so I've tried a lot of different techniques, and I keep trying. I've got some new ones waiting for me to try out. Because when I do resume a more normal teaching schedule, image transfers will be one of my topics, because I've had a number of people ask me to offer my image transfer workshop again, and of course it'll be new and improved. Cherie writes, "Rest in peace, brain cells." You're not kidding. Oh my God. Yeah, I can't spare the brain cells, honestly. So I'm just not taking those kinds of risks. But amazingly, he worked for decades after, because he started doing them in the 60s, I guess.
It really depends on the constitution of the person, because.
Well, I mean, look what your father survived. My God.
Oh my God, yeah. Like
you never would have.
No.
The drinking and smoking.
Yeah. But I mean, there are artists who have worked long lifetimes with stuff that we would oh my God, never do that.
Yeah.
But then there are people who
died young. Like my favorite sculptor. What's
Ava
her name?
Hess. Yeah.
Ava Hess.
Yeah.
That is such a tragedy that she died so young.
Great sculptor, and so sad to.
Lisa Kemp asked, "Do you think you'll do a course on Procreate and collage?" I do, actually, Lisa. Not this year, because I have some big shows this year, and so I haven't been able to spend enough time in Procreate
yet.
So just so I'm clear, if when I teach something like that, it's a combination of, yes, the technical stuff, how to do some important techniques, but it's equally important,
or more
important,
the
artistic thinking, as we use these particular techniques, right?
Yeah.
So
some courses are all about, like, if it's about technical merit, and some are about artistic exploration. And for your technical courses, you obviously do have some technical, but it is much more artistic investigation than most courses that would be that
are technologically based.
Yeah, exactly. So
thanks for asking, Lisa. And feel free to remind me.
Yeah, she'll need it.
I'm forgetful, and I don't mean to forget, but I do forget. I'll try and actually write that down right now.
Yeah, that's a good idea there.
Put it in my little idea garden. That will help. A new folder. Lisa adds, yes, that's what I'd be interested in. I'd be interested in affinity photo as well. Right. Yes, that's the Photoshop
Affordable
alternative
Photoshop, right?
that I recommend to people. So I should put that in here too.
And I'm just gonna, because I haven't really talked about what I've been doing so far, so I'll just briefly show a couple of the things that I have been doing. This one, I thought I would make like a horizon line and then do something else, but it had a little figure in it, and I found an ad that had a bunch of very colorfully dressed fashionable figures. So I just thought I'd play with this idea of sort of a horizon line made up of many different chunks. And I think I might come back to that again because I like that idea. And then just a vertical that goes most of the height using the figure that was in it, but also adding a few others and changing up their heads and so on.
The silhouette of this collage overall is so important. I find it interesting that it starts with such a hard start and then everything else is very organic and flowing.
Yeah. And in fact, when I think about that and look at it, I think, yeah, I might change it if I had, and I might come back to it and put like another piece over here that just sort of
break it up,
and then maybe like tear off or paste over something down here. Because, but that's, I often find that when I'm doing art anyway, I start with a vague idea and it becomes clearer as I do it. And sometimes that means the start doesn't work out as well. And sometimes the start's fine, right? So sometimes it's like a proof of concept. And it's like, yeah, if I had that to do again, I would do it differently.
Yeah.
But
it got you started.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can't fault it, right?
Exactly. And then this piece is just a component right now that with that sort of memorable quote and I originally thought it was going to be with this one, which I really like as well. But then I thought there's something about, I tied into the orange of the type and that really stark black and white photograph of the model. And I thought, I'm going to try and like, it ends on a comma because I'm not worrying about who said it. So I've taken that part out. And I thought I'll put the comma in about where her other eye and shadow was. So I don't even know whether this is just going to be but
I'd love to see that laid onto a black piece of paper with a really big black area to one side.
Well, why don't I just reach into my black drawer and see what I can find?
Yeah. If not, I can lay my hands on a pad of black paper.
Well, I do have a couple of sheets of black.
Excellent.
Yeah, there's a couple of sheets. So this is just straight black, but yeah, that's pretty great, isn't it? And off center.
Off center, so nice.
Or even like at the edge of something that's black, or with a little echo of black.
Yeah.
Or something like that. So
irregular black is nice.
Exactly. So, or maybe I tear one of the edges and leave a cut. like for instance, one thought that occurs to me, which might be too cute, might be just perfect. Like this orange piece has a tear across the top and it's cut along the bottom. So with the black piece, tear, and then leave a cut, right? So that it's this inversion
Reversal.
of, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then decide where. So come back to that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Along that basis.
It's really good food for thought.
Yeah. And I like coming back to it and thinking about it a little bit, putting it aside, and while I do something else, because my subconscious will mull on it. And then when I come back to it, I'll probably have a clearer idea of what's up. Right now, I'm just thinking, I saw that I tore out this page with this woman under the table, which is pretty funny, because of the very strong vertical or horizontals of the legs of the table. And so I thought, I'm cutting one of those out and I'm going to use it. I'm not sure how yet.
Nice.
But I thought, I've got this thing. And I thought it'd be kind of cool to have these like
I like that.
things going off.
Yeah.
I might need a larger sheet, but
a bit like compass rosette.
yeah, but kind of like going off vertically.
You do
and
need
horizontal.
a larger sheet because the rest of that leg is so nice.
No, I wouldn't. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But that's what I got at the moment.
Yeah.
I have some larger paper, so I can definitely do that. But now I'm going to look, and probably because I'm looking for something specific, I'll have trouble finding it. But I'm going to see what I can find in terms of other things that have that sort of same long scheminess.
So more chat to catch up on.
Well, please do.
Lisa has kindly said that she'll try to remind me. Thank you, Lisa. Much appreciated. She says that Affinity Photo is good, but the learning curve is steep. Lots of tools to learn. And that's precisely why I recommend it as an alternative to Photoshop, because it does have tremendous capabilities. I haven't tested the limits of it by any stretch, but yeah, it is very capable as opposed to some of the alternatives that are much more stripped back. Lori says she's learned some knitting stitches and she's practicing those today.
Oh, cool.
So that's great, Lori.
Yeah.
That's the thing, right? Any of our live streams, you certainly don't have to be doing what you're seeing on the screen. You can bring whatever project you would like to play with to the live stream and just have some nice company as you do it. And Mia is here.
Hey, Mia.
I don't think we've seen you for a while. Am I mistaken?
Quite a while. Yeah, I think it's been since last year sometime. So welcome back, Mia.
Yeah, I'm so glad you made it.
Yay.
She hopes we're doing well. Loves what you're working on. So inspiring. Besides the yummy colors and amazing composition, his precise knife cutting skills are awesome. They're legendary. You're quite right, Mia. It's extraordinary what Kal can do with a fine pointed tool, whether a blade or a drawing tool. Or, it's amazing what he'll decide to do with that, that many of us would not choose to do. Elaine says, I love watching you work on a couple of collages at once. That is my modus operandi. It's a very smart way to work. Whether you're painting, collaging, anything else, you stop working on one when you're getting dry or tired or losing your creative energy on it, and you move to a different piece, and it revives you, and then you go back refreshed to the other piece.
Yeah.
Exactly. For me, the sweet number is actually 3, but in a 90-minute event, that's not necessarily the right number. Just depends. I remember the first, Was it the first live stream you did in the fall? Or
There was one time when I was...
You were just
I
like...
just did about 5 collages.
It was crazy.
In the session, yeah.
You were so liberated.
And yeah, now I'm just shackled to my vertical or horizontal.
No, you're playing a game that you love
to
play.
Yeah, exactly.
A game of limitations.
I'm just seeing that for effect. The humor of it all.
Well, that issue of Bazaar certainly looks better than the recent ones.
So some of you guys may remember that I said, I'm going to subscribe to Harper's Bazaar. It's got such great imagery and so on. So I did. And the first 2 have been underwhelming.
Letdown.
Yeah, I think they may have changed art directors or something. And hopefully they'll find their way again. But I think I'm going to have to look for a different subscription. Because, I mean, of course, there's going to be stuff in it I can use. But I do love great photography and great art direction.
And typography.
And typography, of course. So, actually, I'll ask the hive mind, guys. What, if you occasionally pick up fashion magazines?
Or more than occasionally.
If you're a regular or an infrequent user.
Which ones?
Which ones do you recommend for great photography and great art direction? Currently.
Yeah,
because there's one in this pile that I found that was like, oh my god, this is awesome. Like I think it was Vanity Fair, so that's definitely one I
that's an old Vanity Fair though, isn't it?
2018, so definitely.
That's ancient, Cal.
I know. Well, in fashion, it is ancient.
Remember when we were like 21 years old? 4 years old was like, oh my god.
Yeah. Eons.
You think of all the how much the music had changed in 4 years and how much the way you dressed had changed in 4 years.
4 years is about long enough for me to recognize that something's happening.
Yeah, that you still haven't organized the something or other that you promised or something. Yeah. Ruth says Vogue has some really funky stuff.
Good to know. It's certainly quintessential, isn't it? It's been there around for ages. So
I think it was the iconic editor Diana Vreelander who really made Vogue the gold standard for fashion, even though other magazines maybe became fresher or more interesting, whatever. It just depends on editorial staff and vision.
Kim and I come from magazines, so we even though they are arguably, well, not arguably, definitely a medium that has passed its prime, sadly.
Well, I think they've become a niche thing now, right? Like Collage magazine is a perfect example of a successful magazine at a time when most magazines have, well, so many huge magazines died.
Yes.
Right? You think about it. Ricky writes, I found an old GQ. It was quite a treat from my usual National Geographics. I bet it was. Maybe you could canvass your neighbors for magazines, Ricky. Jane writes, haven't got any fashion magazines in ages, but used to like Vanity Fair because they also had good articles.
Yeah, I like that combination, actually.
Yeah.
And Harper's Bazaar has been like that somewhat, but Vanity Fair definitely.
Yeah. You're making her curious enough to invest in some magazines soon. You remember, Cal, in the days when we were designers, how we used to go to, either in Toronto or in Mississauga, go to the best newsstands we knew of and just go and spend a few hours as a special treat a few times a year maybe and load up on all kinds of magazines, some of which were from Europe or Asia and, really expensive. But, feeding our magazine design souls.
Well, and before the internet was what it is now,
yeah,
it was a great source of
fresh
visuals and visual input, thought input.
Yeah.
Everything from like really meaty input to very superficial but delicious input. And in fact, I still think magazines and print has a role in that. Here's a curated thing that some people have put together.
And it's a beautiful
it's an object
experience.
Yeah, exactly, in your hand. And also, like, there's all this great stuff you can find online, but this can be like, oh, that's actually something I want to look up. Like,
you don't have to go through all kinds of crap to find the good stuff.
A few nights ago, I was looking through a magazine, and I had my laptop right beside me, and every time I found something interesting, I sort of followed my nose from that off into some online searches that I wouldn't necessarily have looked for if I had not had the prompting of the magazine.
Yeah,
exactly. So, and I know that we still buy some really good art books. The ones that come to mind immediately are those vitamin P.
Yeah.
Vitamin P2, vitamin P3, which is all about new perspectives in painting. And a bunch of those artists are easily found online if you know their names.
If you know to look for them.
Exactly. So I can flip through this book and beautiful. Like, oh, great. Okay. Definitely looking her up. Definitely looking him up. Definitely looking them up. Right. So, having those.
Yeah, we definitely still need art books. I mean, I've bought a few just recently that were medium focused, like artist books or imaging on fabric and things like that. Elaine writes, I like Vanity Fair because I can read the articles before I set to pulling the issue apart.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that's fun. Mia writes, a few magazines have gone into COVID mode. I just acquired 1984 year 365-day calendar from the National Geographic Greatest Photographs. Cal, I would love you to have it. Can I mail it to you? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Do you get Cal's newsletter, Mia? Because our mailing address is at the bottom of every newsletter, the email newsletter.
We have a post office box at the bottom of my email.
And so you can definitely send things to us there. I know for a fact Cherie did back in 2020, I think. She mailed us something. So yeah.
Well, for MailChimp, we have to have an address, and we don't want to have our actual address, so we have a mailbox, but we
when we had 12 people subscribing to us, having our real address was fine, but now we don't know everybody personally, so. Oh, great. She does, and she'll look for it.
Great.
Thank you, Mia.
Thank you so much.
That's so sweet.
Awesome. Yeah, very
thoughtful.
Sweet of you. Yeah.
It sounds beautiful. I mean, National Geographic's photographs. I follow some of National Geographic's photographers on Instagram because, oh my God, they are, not only are they fantastic photographers, but in order to be really great photographers for a magazine like National Geographic, they also have to be really good storytellers. They have to really have insight into what they're photographing. And so their posts of beautiful photography often includes really wonderful, touching, tragic, heartwarming, uplifting, whatever storytelling in the captions. So yeah, and that's the kind of thing I can't get enough of in my Instagram feed. That's such a glam boot, eh?
crazy.
Yeah.
Having trouble finding things that live up to that chair leg zone. But
right, but you're gonna reassemble something so you can do that.
Well, I don't know that reassembling it's gonna. But I'm trying to be a little less literal now. I'm trying to find some interesting skinny slices.
Ricky writes, it helps that they go to places that few of us can go to, so they open our eyes.
Yes.
They do, and they go to incredible places. But, people can go to incredible places, but not have that incredible eye, number one, and also that incredible storytelling brain that learns about and learns to understand what they're looking at in a way that they can convey something important or interesting about it to other people. And they go to the places for us. And then occasionally, or, depending on the person, maybe not so occasionally, inspires someone else's travels. Yeah. I should have started younger, eh? There's an idea, using my favorite National Geographic coverage or photographs for travel destination inspiration. Just because some of it would tire me out too much. I can't do hardcore adventure stuff.
Well, I think you might be able to.
Mia writes, yes, Kim, and they often have to be very brave to go to places to get their amazing photographs and stories.
Yeah.
Yes, it's true. One of them, whose name, of course, is not coming to mind, but he's within the world of photography, he's a giant. He was sharing some photographs of Afghanistan women in particular that were just so, along with his caption storytelling again, just heartbreaking. Telling the story of the particular woman he took a portrait of. So this is a change from, when I was growing up, where, of course, there was storytelling photographs like that at that time, but there was also this kind of acceptability of treating other people as sort of objects, which is particularly problematic when going to third world countries and cultures very different from the photographer's own. So now there's a real culture of I don't know, getting properly acquainted with the people that they're photographing.
The world has shrunk and in some ways and expanded. I think it's important that, like, whether it's around the block or around the world, that we have one-to-one actual connection, right? Rather than just sweeping generalizations or
a lot of assumptions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's respectful. Which is particularly important when you're a guest, you're a visitor in their environment. Well, that's looking, I like that combination.
Yeah, well, I'm off on a little tangent because I found those two images, or I've taken the boot and made it a lot less recognizable by taking the heel off.
Abstract.
And yeah, exactly. And this is recognizable but also abstract. But there's this interesting dialogue. So
there is.
that's what happens sometimes. I'm like
tangents are important.
working on one thing and something else occurs to me, so I'll just
so
wander
here comes
over to there.
Collage number whatever.
Yeah. And decide if this is one or two sheets I've got. I think it's one. So there we go. Get this glued down because, you know, it's interesting.
Ricky writes, absolutely. I have some very old National Geographics, and it's shocking, both the stories they tell and the license they take in photography, especially women, most of whom are topless. Yeah. And it's so interesting that whole thing of toplessness, you know, it used to be normal for women in Indonesia to be topless because they live on the equator. Of course, it was normal for women to be topless, but now it's I think it's the world's most populous Muslim country. And Islam, of course, women can't be going around topless. So now they're actually so covered up that I swelter looking at them when I'm down there in that part of the world. But the whole thing around the toplessness and the there's a word I'm looking for that I'm not going to remember.
There's definitely sort of a gratuitous male gaze thing, like, oh, I'm just documenting what I'm finding, but
and because
you know, it's like
because specifically some North America has some Protestant / Puritan cultural stuff. I think presumably some of Western Europe too, but it looks at all of that. Is prurient the word I'm looking for?
Sort of, yeah.
The interest, the giggling at it, as opposed to it's a perfectly dignified way for these women to be because this is their culture, this is their geography, this is their climate, and it's but as soon as it's taken out of the context and in you know homes in a different culture, it's seen differently. But you know what should be wondrous about the world is how varied we all are. Be nice to be richly varied without being so divided as things are right now.
Yeah. I love diversity. I love how much culture and nature and so on that the planet has. But and how much connection there actually is if that's your MO. But lots of people's MOs are like looking for the differences and instead of sort of celebrating them, using them divisively.
Well, I think one of the problems is we don't hear enough about whether through social media or mainstream media or whatever. We don't hear enough about the connections. We hear a lot about the divisions and the othering. Mia says, reminds me of Chef Anthony Bourdain. Oh, I miss him so much. Respectfully telling stories by sharing and tasting food with people all over the world. Exactly.
I loved how rugged and like he's very much the unexpected purveyor of sensitive, connective kind of, you know, like, which I love
because he had this really gruff side and slightly macho side and
definitely a rogue of kind of sorts, right?
Absolutely, definitely part of his charm. But then of course he had this wonderful embracing of the people he met, the cultures he met through food, and that's a fabulous thing, you know. Art is another way to connect. Food and art are expressions of our humanity.
Yeah.
And so they're a great humane way to connect with other people. Ruth says, looks like a stormy sky. Yeah, doesn't it?
It does, actually. That's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I just took a look at my my computer monitor, and I can see
You
it.
see it differently now.
Right now in front of me, it's like 8 inches wide. On my monitor, it's like an
Delicious.
inch and a half or something. It's like, oh, I can sort of see it.
Yeah.
So much differently and clearer in some respects. So yeah.
Yeah, I like watching Anthony Bourdain shows now and then, like rewatching some of them, just because they're so they're a taste of something warm and connecting. Mia writes, Kim, you just reminded me of a current BBC News story about art portraits. Why portraits have fascinated us for millennia, specifically artist Paula Modersohn Becker. I will check that out, Mia. She was unable to show her nude art in her lifetime, right? Of course. But I'm glad that she's remembered someone, someone kept her legacy alive or revived it or whatever. I started out as a portrait artist, actually. Portrait and figure were my thing, and I still am very much a portrait artist, but now I do it differently. Now there's a lot more photography involved. I still love to draw portraits when I get a chance. I haven't had a chance for, well, let's face it, for this whole past year. Wait, did I teach a... No, that was the previous year. Yeah. Portraits are fantastic. I remember being, when I first moved to Toronto, I was in grade 4, and I had lived in suburban Ottawa, so I was not used to this whole riding subways thing. I lived downtown, and so I would be, it's kind of weird to think of it now, but 10 years old, all by myself on the subway trains, going wherever I was going. And I remember just loving drinking in all the faces. And so later, when I became, was actually in high school, I started becoming a portrait artist. When I became that, it was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Ricky asked, do you like Alice Neal? I love her. She's wonderful, Ricky. Yes. Her work is so I feel like you can feel her empathy for the her portrait subjects.
Yeah, and that's huge in your work, right?
Yeah.
There's empathy and
because it matters so much.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I do love Alice Neal. Mia quotes from that article. Paula Modersohn Becker, recently the subject of a major retrospective at the Schern Kunsthalle in Frankfurt, also famously made herself the subject of her portraits, along with other women, children, etc. Yeah. I do a lot of self-portraits. First of all, it's sure handy during lockdown. Although I've done quite a bit of portraiture of Kal, which I haven't shown very much of.
No, but I found my way into a few of your works.
Yep.
And
but I've underutilized the material I have.
No, but I mean,
I'll get to it though.
One is one's own subject.
Well,
always there, right? I mean, whenever you.
Yeah, and it's not just that. It's it's two things. One is self-reflection.
Yes.
But the other thing is, very often it's I'm embodying a state of being. And so it's a form of performance, and I'm capturing performance. And it's so much easier for me to just do that, not to try and find the right model and hope that I can get something from them. Which isn't to say I don't love great models, because I've worked with some great models and I do love them. COVID happened before I could persuade one of my favorite great models to pose for my art projects for photography. Wow, I just feel like I'm talking a lot today. I apologize.
Well, thank you. No, I mean, because I'm feeling on the quiet side, so it's
oh
good.
Well, that's fortunate.
It's good to have a
gives you a chance to think about what
you're
doing.
Exactly. Well, and I'm so what I'm thinking about right now is I also really love this. Just trying to figure out the right word. Pure as it is as a unit, but I'm also liking it on the black. So I'm just trying to decide whether it's.
Well, one of the things about the black that I like is how the black from the image spills into the black surround.
Yeah. No, and I do like that. So I think we're just going to go on the black. And I have this feeling that I might not, but I want to interfere with this line of type just a little bit somehow. But I might not. Collage is kind of about figuring out how to, something that I struggle with or grapple with, I think is probably a better way of putting it, is finding great stuff, but then putting enough of my own spin on it that it isn't just the great thing I found.
Wow, what a great photo.
Exactly. So I do try to put my own spin on it. And sometimes that's easier and sometimes it's not as easy.
Yeah.
And I think in this case, I'm happy with the way I've used the image, but even though I love these words because they're just so arresting and fun. And they got so much attitude that I also am thinking, am I riding too much on that? I may decide that I'm not, that it's fine, that putting it in this context is changing its context is enough, but it's something I'm thinking about whether I'm comfortable with that or not. A lot of my graphic design career was using other people's words and putting them in context. So that's both a superpower or something I'm very used to doing, but also something that could be a limiting thing. So.
Mia adds, Alice Neal and Paula Modersohn Becker's works seem to treat their subjects with the utmost dignity and respect. Yes, and it's a very interesting thing in an artistic context. It's about the humanity of the form, doing portraiture, and that means expressing the humanity of both the subject and the artist it's actually quite important not to get too precious in the artistic sense of about the portrait subject. That is to say that you can't play with it, you can't tamper with them. Alice Neal was wonderful in that she presented us with a kind of truth about her portrait subjects, but felt free to distort and to play with color and to do, surprising things. I'm not familiar with Paula Modersohn-Becker's work, but there are some of the portrait artists I respect, admire the most, just contemporary terms, do extraordinary things to the subjects, but in order to get at something really important and really humane about, it could be about what the artist is and the artist is feeling, because as Harold Clunder, the famous Canadian painter, a living painter, and former teacher of mine, said, every portrait is a portrait of the artist.
Well, because it's so true, right?
Yeah. It's all, it's in different doses, a portrait of the subject and a portrait of the artist. It depends on the portrait and it depends on the artist.
Yeah. There's always going to be some of each in any portrait. Yeah. Sometimes there's a lot of the artist. Sometimes there's at least just a little, but always some, right?
Yeah. Ricky writes, she also has a portrait of herself at age 79. Yes, a very brave portrait, in that she's like sharing quite frankly about the effects that aging has had. And it's a beautiful portrait. It's full of life, full of humanity. Right? It's funny, later today, because I'm prepping for my traditional class, I'd been thinking I would do digital collage portraits as the thing I work on for tomorrow. So talking about portraits is interesting, but you put that chair leg on the intersection of the two colors, and I just about squealed. Briefly, you had it right. Oh, bridging them. Oh, that just made me so happy. You don't need to make me happy, but I just wanted to share that.
That's funny, because I was pretty sure you were discomforted. You were uncomfortable about it. But obviously not. So.
Loved it.
Yeah, because what I was doing was, so I was having trouble finding things that lived up to that, and so I then just flipped at it and looked at it and thought, oh, maybe it's kind of like it's the disjointed lollipop kind of thing going on. And I thought, oh, but what if I like have a divide between a color divide? So that's what I'm now playing with.
I like that.
But when I put it right on the divide, I thought, oh, maybe it needs to be, to read a little better, needs to be just off the divide like that. But that was definitely the first instinct right there. So, and then I was thinking, oh, it'd be kind of fun if I had a light and dark side, so that I could either put the dark ones on the dark side and the lighter ones on the light side, or vice versa. Yeah.
Interesting. I'll just mention it's 3:28.
Holy moly.
I know.
Yep.
Crazy.
It is crazy.
And there's more chat.
Well, do catch us up, because time's a wasting. And we're not going to be here much longer. So.
Mia says, so true, Kim and Ricky. Thank you for reminding of this artist, Alice Neal. And she adds, looks good, Cal. Your artistic concentration, thought process, flow is motivating me to get off my butt and get back to making art. Thank you for that. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that's sort of the fondest hope, right?
Yeah.
Is that it will be feel that
inspiring
way. Yeah, exactly.
Nellie adds, and Paula Modersohn-Becker suffered so much. She had to paint, had to express. Yeah. Yeah. There have been quite a few artists in his history like that. So I'll definitely be looking her up. By the way, just while Cal does this before he's going to prepare it so that he'll have some stage of it to show you.
Is that what he's doing? Hopefully.
I just want to mention that any of you who are in Toronto, the Redhead Gallery at 401 Richmond Street, Spadina in Richmond, is open again. We opened up again at February 1st. And there's a show in there, open Wednesday to Saturdays. So this Wednesday through Saturday, there's a show of an artist who's renting the gallery. And then one of the member artists will be showing. She does amazing, amazing work. Tanya DeRicio.
And do you know what, can you give people a taste of what it's going to be about?
She's a collage artist, actually. What am I thinking? Of course, I should mention that. She's a collage artist. But she's done these big, extraordinary collages incorporating mirrors and other materials. And they look, I've just seen photographs of a couple of pieces. They're quite large, delicate, fragile installations. And they look amazing. So, yeah, that's pushing collage into, larger format, and working with mirrors is quite a different material. But, she's a wonderful collage artist. And she's going to have little gumball machine artist multiples.
Oh, yeah, for $2, right?
Yeah, we have an old gumball machine, and inside the plastic gumballs are little tiny art projects for $2.
Yeah, it's such a great idea.
It is.
All right, so I'm going to just do a little drive-by. So this, I'm thinking, is the germ of it, and I won't get to it in this jam, but I'm going to, probably after we go off air, I'm going to play with those two pieces as the base with a little bit of jauntiness to them, I think, like a little bit of angle, and then figure out the exact arrangement of these things on it, see whether that works.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the chair leg lollipop. This one, I think, if it's not done, it's pretty close to done. I do kind of like its graphic design sort of sensibility.
Yeah.
If tomorrow or the next day I look at it and think I have an idea that will mess with the type a little bit without losing what's great about the sentiment in the type, I will do it. But that might just get left the way it is.
Have you tried orienting at 180 degrees from that?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely an option, because as soon as you do that, then the type, you have to work to read it, and it becomes a little less graphic designy, right? More art oriented. And something like that's also kind of fun, because she's upright, but the type isn't.
Yeah.
The type is, so that's...
Yeah. Or 180 degrees from
that way. Yeah, that's also great, because the type sort of reads down.
She's upside down.
And so that's actually pretty strong.
I like that.
Yeah. This is why it's good to rotate your work. Like, you may think, like, I was pretty positive that this is the way it was, but this may be better. Yeah.
It's worth like putting it in a place that you can leave it and encounter it regularly through your day, and then periodically rotate before deciding for sure what it is, unless you really know for sure.
Every once in a while you just know, right?
Exactly.
This may be like a 2-piece collage.
It may,
because it may be all it needs to be, but I'll see.
What's so interesting with a good 2-piece collage is that the two elements have some really interesting relationship contrasts, and they change the nature of each by their proximity. Yeah. They become something new.
Yeah, because, I'm looking at it, when I look at it just in front of me rather than on the monitor, I sort of know what it is, and I find the relationship interesting. When I look at it on the monitor and see it really tiny, it looks like a horizon line of water because I can't make out exactly what this is. So it looks like water with, as someone said, a stormy sky, like, so that's fascinating. And then this one, I'm going to come back to. Your first one, I'm going to come back to that and mess with this edge a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we'll see
where
it
goes.
goes.
Dandy. It's really got some dandy things going on.
But it is kind of fun. Like I had like something to bear in mind, guys, just before, I know we're running over, but and if you have to leave us. We all have things we like to do. And this is something that I have done many times, actually, is sort of use disparate pieces to create an alignment of some kind. Yeah. Like our horizon line. I did it for
your fences project.
The fences project that we did in 2013. And I find, like, don't say, oh, I've done that, so I have to come up with something new. I definitely challenge myself sometimes, but I also go back over and over again to devices that work for me.
And all the great artists do,
Exactly.
Right?
Like we were talking about Jasper Johns. There's stuff that's like, you can see him working through an idea for several years or decades. Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, don't be like thinking everything needs to be one and done. If it's got legs,
it's a good idea.
Use it. Yeah, exactly.
Just make it new each time with different things. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna flip the camera down to sign off, guys. And Kim, are there any comments?
There's lots of comments. Okay. So let's get some comments read. Ruth says, thanks, K&K. I'm signing off. Spent this time planning my series for Cal's Thursday class. And yes, ripping up more magazines.
Oh, gotta love ripping up magazines. Wow, we got like super shine here.
Mia says, it is astonishing to me that some of the greatest artists are able to work while suffering so much pain or loss.
Yeah.
I am in awe of these humans. Where does their strength come from? Well, stay tuned, Mia. I'm working on a show that's like that.
Yeah.
Jane writes, enjoyed watching, but had to do something. So took the vert literally in vertical.
Right.
And just took scraps of shades of green to create vert.
Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious. I love it.
A little forest of vertical trees. Not sure I'll even post.
Oh, but it's great. I love wordplay like that when it comes into it. So yeah.
Ricky says, I love it. Cherie says, love the black-orange composition.
Yeah, me too, Cherie.
Mia says, thank you, Kim and Cal. So glad to be back here with you again, even if just watching. Surrounded by all my art tools. Well, isn't that good for the soul,
exactly.
Mia?
Mia, you don't do anything, but you filled the soul, and that's not nothing. Because filled the well a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think you may find yourself back in the studio soon because you've spent some time thinking, watching,
immerse yourself in the things you love, even if you can't do them just yet.
Yeah.
So thank you, bless you, Mia.
Yeah, thanks,
Jane
guys.
says, love what you created today. Wish I could get less literal.
Yeah. I have to fight against literalness, but
practice.
But yeah, practice, exactly. Yeah. Like making art to practice. That sounds like fun, doesn't it? I mean, that's it, right?
Yeah, there are a lot worse ways to spend your time.
Exactly.
Anne writes, thank you so much, Kim and Cal. As inspirational as always. Thank you, Anne.
Thank you so much.
Mia says, the 2-piece blue collage is amazing. A masterpiece.
Well, I don't know about a masterpiece, but I may.
Bless you,
but
Mia.
I do. Yeah, thank you. And sometimes I do think, oh, this, okay, well, whatever. And then I come back to something and it's like, wow, okay, that I'm really glad I stopped it there or whatever. So, and sometimes I come back and it's like, what was I thinking? So, usually sometime down the road is the best time to look at it, to really sort of figure out what it means.
Except for the ones that hit you right over the head,
Some are great at the moment, and you look at them 2 years from now, and they still look great.
Yeah,
that happens too. So,
Cherie writes, "You were cooking today,
inspiring
thanks, to witness the process." Well, I think Cal's inspired by the fact that you're here chatting.
Yeah, you guys give me the fuel.
We can feel the creative ferment.
Yeah.
Val says, thanks. I got 2 collages done and 1 for February. See you next week. Awesome, Val.
Yep.
See you then.
Yep. So we'll see you next week on Kim Lee Co's channel for a virtual studio party. Same time, same day. Just different channel.
And if in doubt, Cal's website has a link.
Yeah, there's a link on my virtual collage jam page.
And my website does too.
Yeah.
But you're more
you
familiar
can find
with Cal's.
You can find it either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ricky says, thank you. Lots of
Thanks,
learning.
Ricky.
Lori
Yeah, fun.
says, ciao. Thanks. So
Bye,
good
Lori.
to see you
Yeah.
guys. Philippa says, thanks so much for the inspiration as always. Smile.
Thanks for coming, Philippa.
Lisa, really enjoyed collaging with you today.
Oh,
Thanks.
thank you, Lisa.
Aw.
Likewise.
Nellie, thank you.
Hey,
You are
Nellie.
an inspiration.
Yeah. Oh, likewise.
Francoise, thanks for stimulating our imagination. Thank you,
thanks,
Francoise.
And thank you, everyone, for all your kind words and for hanging out with us and collaging with us.
That's
Please
right.
post what you do on our virtual collage jam group on Facebook.
That's
Can't
right.
wait to see what you guys cooked up.
And please like this video.
Yeah, like the video before you go, because that helps
and
the YouTube help us find more collagers to join us. So,
and if you're not subscribed, sign up for subscribing. And if you click on the bell, you'll get notified when new things are posted.
Yes. So,
okay.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
So thanks so much.
Have a good week, and we'll see you on Kim's next week. Bye.